Well done, Rakugo. We all knew it was coming. We all knew that Shin was going to die. However, the way the death was done, or how the death happened to begin with, is something we didn't know about. And to know that it was going to happen, but not when or how, that was the surprising part. Because now knowing how Shin dies, it's so much more tragic because you realize how it could have been prevented. And the meaning behind this episode is sad to begin with. Very inspirational, but sad. And seeing that final scene, I just straight up, I was like, just flabbergasted. I was like, what? Like, that I was like, what? Because finding out Mio's real name is Yurie, and Shin yells out to her. He tries to save her. And then the balcony breaks. He falls off with her. And you have Bond holding on as hard as he can to save them, pull them up. But he can't. That scene, how it could have been prevented. It's saddening. It's so saddening. And now I see kind of why Bond seems to be very lonely now. He probably blames himself for the entire situation. I could see why he acts like he does in the future now. Sad. It's very sad. He probably blames himself for the death of them. And Konatsu, when she said in the first part of the series, she was talking about how Bond was responsible for the death of her parents or father. You're like, okay, you didn't really think too much about it. And now seeing it, now I can see why a daughter, a girl of her age, would think that. I could see why she'd probably think that. And why she would change her attitude so much towards Bond when she was so kind to him, like what we saw recently, to how she is in the future. Now I can see why. It's so shocking. It's a very powerful scene. I love the symbolism of how Shin, when he let go and he was falling, it was kind of representing, falling into a pit of darkness, hell itself. And Bond was being left behind. And he was just being left behind to where he was going to be alone. And it was a very sad moment. And I felt like the way the episode decided to cut out the ending song and the opening song at that was probably a very smart move. And they used that actually to, I guess, have more screen time, which is not what many anime series tend to do. I mean, I've seen a lot of anime usually actually use their opening or ending song over scenes like that, but it wasn't really done this time, which is surprising. I mean, you would think, since it was such an impactful scene, especially with the death of these two, that the opening or ending song would have started playing, but it didn't. And I felt like that's what made the scene even more impactful, actually, because it was very silent, quiet. It was allowing the viewer to realize and think about what really just happened, and you put your own story together. And I love the way that scene was done. So, besides talking about this tragedy that could have been prevented, and how Mio, her character, let me talk about her real quick, okay? Mio, her character, now seeing her true reasoning of why she left Shin and then her daughter, disgusts me. It fucking disgusts me. It fucking disgusts me. It really does. Finding out she left, I know why she left Shin, because, he was a no good husband that didn't want to work. Fine, I understand that. But leaving behind her daughter and how she said that my daughter reminded me of my husband and I didn't want to look at her and all that, and just thought, I'm like, are you fucking serious? Are you fucking serious? If you want me to hate you as a character, please continue. Please continue. So, yeah, right there, I don't like her character. I fucking hate her character. In discussion there. So, getting off of that, let's talk about Shin. The development he got in this fucking episode. It's sad because he changed for the better, but then dies. That's the tragic part about this. Because the story he was saying through his Rakugo, in a way, that was him. That's exactly what it was. That story Shin was saying to everyone, the audience, us as the viewer, and Bon and everyone, his daughter. That was Shin talking about himself. And when you see the story about how this man, he gave up like his previous life and he tried to become a changed man, a better man for his family. And eventually he put aside the drinking. He didn't want to drink anymore. And he just set it aside like, I don't want this anymore. And then he gave up all this other stuff just to be able to be a good person. It makes you realize, holy shit, this is pretty much Shin that, he's talking about. He's talking about himself. And when you see that final scene where he talks to Mio before, she falls off, he's like, I can change. I will completely give up Rakugo. I will quit it. I will get a real job. I mean, he's sitting there crying. And it's a sad scene because it's a man that realizes. He realized his mistakes. He realizes what he's done wrong. He realizes what he's doing. I know this man has a dream. And I understand. I respect that. Every guy or anyone in the world should go after their dream. But let's take kind of an example from Assassination Classroom. Always have a second blade. And that's exactly what he didn't have. And then he got it after realizing what he caused his daughter and wife. And when he announces that to Mio, like, hey, I'll give up my Rakugo. I'll give up all. I'll get a real job. I'll become someone really important. I'll be good to you. I know what I care about and all that. It hit me. It really fucking hit me because there's so much emotion in that. The voice actor fucking nailed that scene. It was such a beautiful scene. It's sad because that was his character development reaching its peak. And then he dies. We don't know necessarily if he, as a person, would have became a better person. We don't know that. And that's another sad thing to look at because with his, announcement to his wife and what he was kind of trying to make to his daughter of how he's going to change, we don't know if he would have followed through with that. We don't know if he would have really have followed the story of what happened and became a better man. We don't know. And that's another tragedy about this. So, a very dark conclusion to this little arc, this past story arc. And now I understand. I definitely understand now why Bon is like he is. And why Konatsu acts like she does and all that. It's sad. Very sad. But good. Very good writing. Very, 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 very fucking good writing. Woof! Anime of the season. Yeah, easy anime of the season. I was talking about how it was hard to choose, but definitely Rakugo is anime of the season. No questions asked. It's hands down anime of the season. This episode alone, concrete said, I love my tragic stories, my tragic conclusions. That right there is something I love a lot, and seeing that type of shit made me happy. So, even though I'm sad, of course, but it made me happy because of how good of writing it was, to clarify. So, yeah. You all, tell me your thoughts. How did you feel about this episode? How did you feel about this conclusion? I'm curious. Let me know how you felt about it. You all have a wonderful day or night wherever you live. Please be safe. Chibi.